Tonight we're going to be talking about Arctic air invading the Pacific Northwest. Where will it snow, how much, and what you can expect. Hi everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Chasers. Today is December 24th, Christmas Eve, about 10 p.m. Right now we're taking a look at the current satellite imagery here, and you can see the very cold Arctic air as it's been making its way down the last couple of days and now setting up shop there in British Columbia. You can see it well established east of the Rockies here. This Arctic air is pouring off the continent here, and this is causing a cyclogenesis, and you can see one of these little lows moved into Washington as we speak. It's pretty gusty at my house right now, as you can see on my webcam showing my Davis Instruments there. Another one of these little lows is going to be sliding down in a similar path a little bit further south as it moves just south of Olympia there, and then it's going to retrograde back over the Oregon, Washington coast and go south from there. But that is going to bring some northerly winds down the Puget Sound in the form of a modified Arctic front. And that's something the National Weather Service has been watching too, calling for 2 to 9 inches throughout much of the Puget Sound. So we're just going to go ahead and dive right into that here. This is the European model for Sunday morning. This will be the second low, not the one tonight, but the one following on its heels. And you can see this gradient has tightened through British Columbia here. We're looking at about 22 millibars, Lake Williams to Bellingham. That is the measurement at which we measure these Arctic blasts. Some of the epic blasts have gotten over 25 millibars, so this should still be a fair blast coming through the Fraser River Gap and allowing this Arctic air to pour into western Washington on the day Sunday. So looking here, I'll go ahead and just let this roll out here. You can see tonight's low, just kind of small mesoscale low, move over to the Puget Sound there. And then you'll see another one on Sunday morning slide down the Washington coast there and make its way inland a bit, just south of Olympia. And then it kind of starts to back up and rolls down the Oregon coastline here, kind of following the trajectory of this Arctic air that spawned it in the first place. So we're not going to get the future just yet. Let's take a look at the temperatures and see when we fall below freezing. About the same, about 10 p.m. Christmas night. The entire Puget Sound is going to be below freezing, maybe just a couple areas just above. But by morning Sunday, you're going to be below freezing everywhere. And as we look through the day Sunday, you'll see it does not get above freezing for the Puget Sound. So any of that snow that does fall is going to stick around. Let's go ahead and look at the Kuchera 24-hour maps. I've been doing this because it's been showing some accumulation. For example, in Seattle, that's not going to be a disruptive snowfall. So I want to do the 24-hour one to show how much in that 24-hour period after we've fallen below freezing. So you can see 6.5 at SeaTac. You see a nice band there, North Seattle. You can see some good accumulation up by Bellingham there, and really all throughout the Puget Sound. This just kind of highlights how a couple areas are bound to get much less than others, and where these bands set up with this Arctic front are definitely going to be the winners if you are a snow lover. And we'll get to take a look at Western Oregon here in a minute. Here is the NAM 3KM. This is the current low, the meso low that moved over the Puget Sound there, and you can see it get absorbed as it moves in. And you'll see the next one develop off Vancouver Island there and slide off the Washington coast and just south of the area. And that's going to, that sets up that nice gradient and gets those winds flowing down through the Puget Sound in that modified Arctic front. And then you'll see that low the troughing kind of back up here and follow down the Oregon coast as it did a little bit with the European model. So here we're looking at precipitation bands. This is the latest NAM run, and you can see a lot of that. It's mixing in with snow actually here at my house. So it is pretty chilly, and I expect to see some snowflakes flying through the Puget Sound during the day tomorrow. So it'll be nice for Christmas to see that. I don't expect a disruptive snowfall until probably at the earliest Christmas night later on. But you can see north of Everett, this snow is probably going to be sticking during the day on Christmas, and you can see those bands continue to rotate up through the North Sound into southern British Columbia there, Victoria, for example. And then you'll see as we get into Sunday morning what happens here. We start to get that Arctic boundary moving down the Puget Sound, and at the same time these bands are going to be enhanced through the Willamette Valley. More hit and miss through the Willamette Valley, but if you get underneath one of these bands, you could get several inches of snowfall as we should remain below freezing, and definitely if you are underneath one of these bands in the Willamette Valley. And you'll notice now this Arctic front early Sunday morning sagging down across SeaTac by this point, and it really just kind of hangs out the snowfall behind it for a bit. So that could be, that's why the National Weather Service is saying 2 to 9 inches. That is not a bad forecast by my view as well. And you can see these bands continue into the Willamette Valley into the afternoon on the 26th, and you still see some residual snowfall going on up in Washington. Looks like it tapers off by the evening, and these bands are still going for Portland south through the Willamette Valley. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of accumulations happen there. There's probably going to be much more hit and miss than the Puget Sound, but if you're under one of them and you're a snow lover, that will be a nice treat for you there in western Oregon. Looking at the NAM, let's see when that falls below freezing there. You can see on into Christmas night, looks like everywhere's below freezing except maybe the coastal areas. And for Seattle, it stays there. Portland, the Willamette Valley might go above briefly. Unless you're underneath one of those snow bands, you're probably going to stay below freezing. So it'll be more of a wet snow down Portland south than it is north of Portland, up towards Bellingham and into southern BC for sure. More of a dry snow north. And the north wind will be going through Seattle much earlier than it will Portland. Portland snowfall is going to depend on how these bands organize over the valley. So looking at western Oregon here, you can see as we look into the future, these are 24-hour Kuchera snowfall amounts. And these, the Kuchera samples the temperature in the lowest section of the atmosphere, and it tries to determine snow density, and that can lead to different snowfall amounts per how much precipitation you're actually getting. So you can see just how the Portland, one of those band sets up there, and look at Eugene, 3 inches. So it's going to be hit and miss in the Willamette Valley. Looking up towards the Puget Sound here, you can see, I'll go reverse and back forward, and you can see some pretty good snowfall totals up here, the San Juan, southern BC, out towards the Strait. Probably some Strait effect snow going on there up in British Columbia. And you see that Arctic front sag down, and that band kind of stalls over SeaTac. It looks like it stalls almost in a north-south trajectory there through North Seattle, similar to what the European is showing. But 3.6 inches of snow at SeaTac below freezing is extremely disruptive. So check your travel plans if you're heading out the day after Christmas, that's for sure. And travel's not going to be easy along the I-5 corridor either, with temperatures below freezing and snow falling. So heads up there. And yeah, I'll probably I'm thinking about doing a live stream tomorrow morning, maybe, depending on what the models show. And if not, I will do another video by tomorrow night as well. And I want to get this one out just to kind of share what's going on here quickly. And I'm running a little bit late here. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Click like, and I'll keep updating these videos. I'll probably do a live stream tomorrow, Christmas morning, and just to see how it goes. And I will talk to you guys on Twitter for some updates there as well.